Hey everybody, it's Justin. Welcome to Junk News, where I always talk about is all the news that's going around the world that really won't have a huge impact in our lives other than entertainment. And the video I'm talking about today is the Katt Williams and Shannon Sharp conversation and how that has taken over the world. Everyone is feeding off of this one video. What I mean by that is that everyone has either watched the video or making commentary, whether they like it or dislike it, whether they believe Cat is true or not. The people that he talked about in the video has responded, and I'm talking about everyone is talking about it, is feeding. So you know what? In junk news, why don't we try to get started and talk about this video as well? First of all, I loved every second of the video. I thought it was highly entertaining. Do I agree with everything Kat said? Do I believe everything? I believe that he believes that it's all true. And for the most part, I believe when I first heard, like, wow, he's really laying it down. There's a couple things where I'm like, I can see where he's coming from, but I don't necessarily agree. And these are the two things I feel like that he hit. Well, I think I can find holes in his theory. And the first one is that Kevin Hart is a plant. I can understand why you think Kevin Hart is a plant. Kevin Hart just showed up out of nowhere and into the Hollywood scene, and he has just blown up. And if you think about his first movie, Soul Plane did terrible. He was the main character, but he had the least amount of accolades between all of the other people that made starring roles in the film. I believe Snoop Dogg was in it, Terry Crews, man, Mike Epps. There was a whole lot of people that were in his film that were more famous than he was, and the film didn't even do that well. But the reason why I don't think he was just a plant is that we forget that on the east side, yes, everything's on the west, the Hollywood movies, but we forget that sometimes they have producers that show up over on the east side for this specific reason. Someone that is blowing up famously another part of the world or in another part of the United States, if they make it big enough attention, producers will seek them out. I believe Will Smith, born and raised in Philly. I don't know his full story, but he was a rapper from Philadelphia. I don't think he moved to California before then, but he was a rapper in Philadelphia. And I think they liked his music. And so they said, you know what, let's bring you out there. Jerry Seinfeld on the Seinfeld show did a whole episode about he was in the club and two NBC producers came up to him and said, hey, we'd like to do a pilot for you. Do you have a pilot idea? And for him to do the episode, I believe that is probably how it happened with Kevin Hart. If you go watch the Seinfeld episode, I believe that is probably how they found Kevin Hart. They probably were going through different different comedy shows and stuff. Probably been following him for a little while and said, you know what? I bet we can make a pilot with him. I bet that he can do something. And of course, he did do a pilot, and that pilot bombed. But I bet to me, that's probably how he got started. That's probably how he got introduced to the whole ideal of acting and going into it. So I understand where Cat Williams was saying, but I think Kevin Hart probably got to start that way. He didn't go to Hollywood and work to become an actor. I think he was a comedian. Some producers saw him and said, you know what? I bet we can make something work with you. And then the second thing is about the Steve Harvey show being compared to Hanging with Mr. Cooper with Mark Carey. First of all, I loved both of those shows. I thought Hanging with Mr. Cooper was a breakout show. I loved the storyline. I wish it would have lasted longer. And then I also enjoyed the Steve Harvey show. That was actually my first introduction to um, Cedric the Entertainer. I think I knew Steve Harvey before from Apollo, watching the Apollo. I don't know which one came first, but I knew of Steve Harvey. But I didn't know of Cedric the Entertainer. And I wasn't a fan of the Kings and Queens. I was too young to really get into that. But Steve Harvey show came on when WGN and WB was blowing up, had the list of black television shows coming out, and it was one of them that joined it, and I watched it. The reason why I say he didn't necessarily steal the ideal is the producers of the Steve Harvey show were the producers of Golden Girls and everything else. I really feel like the shows were quite similar, but it's mainly because black audiences watch those type of shows. If you look at all the Tyler Perry movies, every single one of them follow a very similar format. Now, I know he's the writer of them, but it's mainly because, in my opinion, because this is what the black audiences are going after. Of course, you hope that these movies will cross over to all audiences, but you got to start within a certain demographic, and that's a demographic they chose, and that where it flourished. So that's the only thing, two things where I feel like, Katt Williams really laid it down. Now said some other insightful things too. Um, his role in the movie uh, Friday, the third Friday. Oh man, there was no one else. I don't care if they had anyone else looking at the role. Maybe they thought Ricky Smile would do a good job, but the bottom line is that nobody could have played that role better than Katt Williams. Nobody. He played that role perfectly. Um, and about he's made a comment about the rape scene. You know what? I don't know. I know Ice Cube has come out and said that he would have never put that in there. That's not his style. There are some people do find this type of comedy, and I'm not one of those people that find that to be hilarious. But I think I've seen other films where they make comments like that and they do stuff like that, and whether the drama or whatever, a man being raped, and I think that's part of their lifestyle. And I'm glad that if whether Cat Williams had to change or not, but I'm glad it went in the direction that it did. I do feel like Cat Williams did play a role in it because if you think about it, that part, the way Ice Cube stated it, the role of Cat Williams was relatively small, and because he was so funny and he gave so much energy, they expanded his role. I wouldn't be surprised if someone did not suggest that idea, whether it's Cat Williams or Ice Cube, that said no, we don't want to use that idea. I'm pretty sure someone did suggest that idea, and so that's why I think it can't be that far from the truth. I think someone when it wouldn't shock me. Nothing really shocks me about Hollywood anymore. Anyway, I love that video. I've watched it already 5 times. And I just said, you know what? If everyone is gonna eat from it, I might as well try to eat from it too. So if that, look forward to a lot of videos from Junk News coming out. Everything that happens in the media, everything that goes on, whether you think it's powerful or not, we're gonna talk about it. And with that, juice.